A local survivor of fibroids is sharing her story and many others in an upcoming documentary film. Courtney standing by with her to learn more.
This is a really incredible film that's coming out. You have a chance to see it with family and friends, because I think a lot of us will actually relate to this without really knowing it. Melissa Muganzo Murphy joins us this morning. She is the writer and the brilliance behind this film. It's called The Big Hysto. Good morning to you, Melissa.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. And I want to start off with this quote, because you said that this, as the director, you said that this film is a love letter to our ancestors, right? And you said, quote, who without civil liberties and protections were practiced on for the sake of science. And this goes back to, who they call the godfather of gynecology, who reportedly, did experimental procedures on an African-American slave because he could. And it was just awful, absolutely awful what was done to her.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dr. Jay Marion Sims is known as the father of gynecology, but he also was a slave owner. And he is actually the founder of the first women's hospital in the United States. But it was actually a slave quarters in his backyard where he experimented on thousands of female slaves, ages 13 to 35.
And, this is historical reference that we can go back and look and prove. But going forward, there's a lot of mistrust, right, in the African-American community. And some things that have gone unnoticed or kind of pushed to the back. For example, fibroids. That's something that I was diagnosed with about 4 years ago. I had no idea what it was. And now that I know that I'm a survivor of it, I've met so many women who are survivors of the same thing, but you never know it unless you have a conversation with somebody.
Absolutely. There's a lot of shame around our bodies, right? When we feel like our bodies aren't working well or it's not working like other people, we tend to keep that a secret instead of asking for help or finding community with other people that are also suffering from the same thing, specifically in Black communities where we don't talk about anything sexual or internal that's going on.
Yeah. And let's talk about The Big Hysto. Again, you're the director of the film itself. You've got lots of local women who, when I looked at the cast, I was like, oh my gosh, I know Dr. Foss. I know Dr. Moore. I know Khalees. All these women who are in this. And again, I'm like, I have something in common with them as well. And your story is a huge testimony to how big this is.
Absolutely. I mean, I suffered from fibroids for over 10 years, and I totally thought it was something that was wrong with just my body. I felt very isolated. I felt very guilty that my body wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. And then I started talking about it, and people are like, my grandmother, my neighbor, my niece, and we also talk about people that identify as queer and trans and non-binary that also have wombs, that are also suffering from the same thing and are also facing additional treatment of discrimination in the hospitals.
Wow, this is incredible. Okay, so the film itself is coming out Wednesday. People can catch it at the IMAX Theater here in Sacramento. Do we need to buy tickets in advance? How does that?
Yeah, so you definitely want to go to www.muganzoentertainment.com, and that's MUGANZO entertainment.com to get tickets. And yes, it is this Wednesday at 6 o'clock is the red carpet, so you got to come and pop out. Okay. And then 7 o'clock is when the film starts, and we're so excited to partner with the Esquire IMAX to get this out there.
And I wanted to ask you about that too, because as you mentioned, there's a red carpet that starts at 6 o'clock. So you are asking people to come red carpet ready, darling.
Oh, yes. You have to come photo ready. Okay. I want you to come confident. I want you to pop out. And, it doesn't have to be black tie, but it does, you want to be confident. You want to be celebratory. And Sacramento deserves something like this.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, the celebration is on Wednesday. Again, the film is called The Big Hysto. It is at the IMAX on Wednesday. We'll put all the details on our website, gooddaysacramento.com, under show info and today's date. Melissa, an absolute pleasure. And thank you so much for doing this film.
Thank you so much for having me. Y'all have a beautiful day.
You likewise. All right. Tina, back to you.
Thanks, Court.